Justice Inyang Ekwo of the Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered Governor of Ebonyi State, David Umahi, and his deputy, Eric Kelechi Igwe, to vacate their seats as a sitting governor and deputy, respectively. The order comes on grounds that the People's Democratic Party, PDP, won the election in March 2019 and not its candidate. The court held that the total number of 393,042 votes Umahi secured at the March 9, 2019 Ebonyi State governorship election belonged to the PDP, hence could not be legally transferred to the APC. The court also noted that both Umahi and Igwe's defection to the APC not only threw out the PDP but also the votes that belonged to the party. Meanwhile, Governor of Ebonyi State, David Umahi, has described as jungle justice the judgment delivered by Justice Inyang Ekwo of the Federal High Court in Abuja. The governor noted that the court lacks the powers to remove him as governor, as is covered by immunity clause which protects him from any form of litigation that is not pre-election and tribunal matter. He also urged the people of the state to remain calm as it was sure of caution the ruling at the appeal court. Joining me to discuss this further is Jide Ojo, Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you very much for joining us. So the court, through its judgment, has said Governor Umahi and his deputy cannot transfer the mandate of the PDP to the APC. What do you make of this judgment?
Well, I think it's a well-considered judgment, and it will have a far-reaching effect on the polity. It will help to sanitize Nigeria's political climate to the extent that our political class have been using, they've been taking the electorate for granted. It's a time-honored electoral position that when since there is no provision for independent candidacy, you are casting ballot for the party. That was why, in the case of Rotimi Amechi and Celestine Omeha, despite the fact that Rotimi Amechi was not on the ballot, the Supreme Court said Rotimi Amechi should be sworn in because the vote that was cast in 2007 for PDP belongs to PDP and not to Celestine Omeya or to Rotimi Amechi. The same thing happened in Kogi State, where after the death of Prince Abubakar Audu, the person who succeeded him, that's Governor Yahaya Bello, then he happens to have come distant second in the party primary. Rule that the vote of Prince Abubakar Audu was not buried with him, because when people cast ballot, they are casting that ballot for political party and not for the candidate. So this is a time-honored legal position, and that is what Justice echoed today. And I believe it will help to sanitize Nigeria's political climate to the extent that people going forward, those who want to trade with the mandate of a political party, need to first resign. Even if they want to defect, they should defect, but resign their membership of that party and relinquish the position they want on the basis of that party. Then they can go and recontest under another party. I think that this is my own position. It's a well-considered judgment, and I do hope that the appellate court, that is the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court, will also upheld this position of the Federal High Court, Abuja.
Now let's make reference to the case of the PDP and the Zamfara State Governor. The court in this case struck out the suit against Matawale for defecting to the APC. Now, could you briefly tell us what makes this case different?
Well, in every case is unique to the extent of you need to know what are the prayers of the legal team in Ebonyi case, for instance, and in the case of Matawale versus PDP in Zamfara State, and whether the briefs were filed out of time. So when a case is struck out, you need to understand whether it was struck out on the basis of technicalities or whether it was struck out on the basis of lack of jurisdiction, issue of, maybe you file it out of time, those are technicalities. But the case in Abuja, the case of Ebonyi State Governor, was decided on its merit. It was not on the, and by the way, it also settles the issue of immunity. The Governor Umahi is claiming immunity from prosecution. He was not being prosecuted. The merit of this case was not the governor per se. The ruling was party versus party. The ruling in Abuja is that you cannot transfer the mandate of a party to another party. So it wasn't as if it was Umahi in person that was on trial, it was the party. So the case in Zamfara, it could have been struck out on the basis of technicalities. I have not read that judgment, but we need to understand that, again, even for the case in Ebonyi, this is court of first instance. He still has a right of appeal up onto Supreme Court. But like I said, I've expressed my sentiment that I hope this will be a locus classicus, in which case it becomes a reference point. And subsequently, any governor who wants to defect will first have to resign and then relinquish the mandate of the party upon which it came to power. Then it can go to any other party that it wants to defect to. This has nothing to do with Section 68 subsection 1G, which some people may want to be claiming, because that one has to do with the National Assembly, and that's for the parliamentary position. So it's a well-considered view. For me, as far as I'm concerned, this case in Ebonyi is a well-considered view. We do not know the merit of the case in Zamfara, whether it has to do with whether the case was only struck out because of technicality. So to that extent, I will not want to comment beyond what is in public domain. I've not been
indeed, Jide, sorry to interrupt you there, but in all of these cases and in all of these prayers, they're all the same. That of Zamfara and other scenarios you've mentioned, but definitely it's a wait and see situation. And David Umahi has responded, and we'll see what takes place after that. But Jide Ojo, a public affairs analyst, and thank you very much for your contribution on the program.